That's the answer I would say.
Russ, when you look back at the season, what stands out in your mind as things that just didn't work for this roster and why the team is where it is today?
I mean, obviously it wasn't a successful season by any means from top to bottom, but there are so many different things that you can point to. I don't have say that these 5 things were wrong, but there are so many different things that happen that can change whether we win 5 more games here, 10 more games here and there. But just overall, not a successful season, from top to bottom.
Alex Lewa.
Hey, Russ. Just curious, for your own personal goals coming into the season, how would you just assess your play, how you felt like you fit in with the team, the roster, from your own perspective? Yeah,
I mean, from my own perspective, I'm a big on putting a ton of pressure on myself coming into any situation. Just my play in general, not my best season. Just going off of my own personal scale, because that's the only thing I go off of regardless of the season. I know that a lot of people outside of here and media, whatever that may be, have their own expectations of kind of how they see I'm supposed to play or what numbers I'm supposed to put up. But for me personally, I put myself on a very, very high scale. And yeah, I'm not happy with the way, the season kind of prevailed from that perspective, but felt better the way I ended. And, playing and getting a better rhythm of just me personally and kind of how I felt about my game.
Yeah.
Russ, when we spoke to Rob earlier about your future, he said the first piece is that you have some say in that with your player option. Just to be clear, do you anticipate picking up a $47 million player option this summer?
I'll make a decision. That's why it's called.
Understood.
Player option.
Okay. And then the second piece of that is, do you have, I know it's a long summer, there's a lot of time to figure some things out, but do you have a first blush sense right now of what's best for you and whether that's here or looking elsewhere?
No, I don't. I haven't thought that far into anything. But I just always lean on just continue doing the right thing. Like I always tell you guys, I lean big on my faith. And with that, I can never go wrong. I can always find wherever, if it's here, if it's there, I kind of leave that out of it. My job is to make sure that I come to work, be professional, be a good person more than anything, continue doing that, and everything else to kind of play out.
Russ, you talk about the pressure you put on yourself. How much of a factor in pressure was coming back to LA, playing for this franchise, and did that challenge you in unexpected ways?
That wasn't a part of any pressure for me. Was actually something more release of pressure, kind of made me too relaxed at times, to be completely honest. And just having, family and everybody close by. A lot of times when I was in other places, it was, I didn't have all my family, but I was real focused on, locked in on different things. And so there was no pressure, extra added pressure from there. I would probably say the only thing that was a problem or issue was with just the reception I got from people here, and for any reason, whatever that may be, whether it's the fans or whatever, wasn't so great, but that's not up to me to judge or any sort. Just kind of came to work, did my job, and try to find ways to be able to make myself a better player as the season prolonged.
Is that what you just mentioned there? Is that the most disappointing thing of this year for you?
No. It's disappointing, but not the most disappointing, no.
Russ, after the Dallas game, and obviously the game week 3 in the middle of December, LeBron and AD were only on the court, I think, for 7 games.
Yeah.
Just wondered for you, when you were playing with LeBron, with AD. How much different is it? How much time did it have to spend with the coaches? Like, you're going to have the ball this much now that LeBron's out, you're out. What was that adjustment period like? And what are the basketball things that are most important there?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the things you mentioned, I wish would have happened, but those conversations never were had on of any sort to kind of figure out how we will play and kind of what was best when we were on the floor. So, you know, that's that.
Okay.
Russ, when you, I think it was your introductory press conference, you said, I want to be at a place where I'm wanted. I think you said that was like a big thing for you.
Yeah.
You were, because you were healthy, because you were the person that was out of probably everybody most out front. Did you still feel wanted in this organization, or did you feel maybe scapegoated at times?
I would say this. I would say, so when I first got here, and just being, you know, a person that, unfortunately, that people create narratives of me and who I am, and what I do and what I believe in that are, you know, just not true. I'm always have to like prove myself again in the year after year after year, which is to me just unfair. There's really no reason I have to do that. So when I first got here, I just felt that I never was given a fair chance just to be who I needed to be able to help this team.
To follow on that, when you said that, do you mean it like stylistically on the court? Is that what you're talking about?
From top to bottom, just every aspect. Because I don't, what I bring to an organization is not just basketball.
Sure.
It's not, I am well faceted in different aspects of my life, whether it's in a community, whether it's leadership, whether it's different things of helping other teammates or people out, creating friendships, relationships, because I think that's the bigger goal, because basketball is a short time of your life and you have an ability to be able to create friendships, create relationships with people throughout that time. And when you have to like try to like prove to people or try to let people take this perception of who they think of me and kind of, you know, what people may have said about me, it kind of takes you coming in like, okay, well, good luck, you know, type of thing. And I just never felt I had a fair chance on the basketball front, on any front.
Okay.
Russ, in Phoenix, you told us that you hoped the plan would be that you, LeBron, and AD would be able to do this again with more time. You're telling us that you didn't feel like you were given a fair chance. Why would you even want to come back?
It's not my decision to determine who's here, who's not. I'm strictly basing, he asked me about my experience from start, and that's my answer.
Did it get better than all that?
As pertains to what?
Feeling like you were understood, you're being appreciated for everything you brought to the
I'm
organization.
not asking for people to want to understand me or appreciate anything. I don't, you know, I'm not, people don't not able to judge kind of my appreciation and then what I bring to organization. I'm just strictly stating from when I first got here, the ability to be able to do what I'm able to do for a team and the organization wasn't given a fair chance. And throughout the season, as you guys seen, and a lot of you guys not here, but maybe here may have wrote or put out sources may say, or the famous source of all the different stories that came out about myself and what's between me and the staff, me and Frank, me and the fans. There's just so many made up stories that are not true. It's just always having to fight against that constantly. It's not, that's a part of not giving a fair chance. It's like, okay, now I got to fight against this made up story. I got to fight against this one. Now I got to fight against this one. Now I got to fight against this one, when strictly what I've always been done and never had a problem with in any organization that I've ever been to is doing my job at a high level, coming to work, competing, being professional. And that's strictly what, you know, I always try to do.
Can you give us an example of something you saw that was out there that you felt was made up about you?
No, I can't. You know the examples. I'm not, you know, I don't want to get into details of what story, who wrote it, why. It's pointless. It doesn't really matter because it's not true. You know, if it doesn't come from me, I'm a very straight up person, as you guys know. And, you know, I will stand on anything that actually happens that don't happen. But unfortunately, throughout the season, and especially this season, the ability to be able to constantly create stories about myself and things that I may have or people thought I may have been doing, it can like jade people's perspective of me and like the outside fan or outside world of, oh, maybe he is the problem or maybe he is the bigger issue, when in actuality, there's so many different issues going on internally that are actually really happening that for me is frustrating, especially throughout the season, that I have to keep fighting against all those made up narratives. That's not true.
I just have one more for you. Frank, a couple hours ago, was told by the organization he's no longer being head coach.
Right.
What was your experience playing for Frank over the season?
What aspect?
How did you guys jive as player and coach? What do you think how do you think of the job he did?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, to be honest, because I've never, and I was saying this, I never had an issue with any of my coaches before, as much as people may assume. I've never had an issue with any coach, any players, any staff members, anybody actually, if we're keeping it honest. And from the moment I got here, and you guys don't know this, but it was actually Frank's and his wife's anniversary. And I actually sent him a bottle of champagne and stuff to his hotel room, which he didn't know anything about, because it's a nice thing to do, nice gesture. I'm coming to the team. Congratulations to you guys. And that's just the type of person I am. I don't do it for anything back in return, but that's just something that I felt was the right thing to do. And I'm not sure what his issue was with me, or I'm not sure why, but I can't really give you an answer why we never really connected. Maybe, that's something that he has to answer, but I never, from the get-go was feeling like I was having to like try to prove myself to him and my capabilities and what I've been able to do for this game. And it's unfortunate, but it's really not kind of out of my hands.
Yohan.
That was going to be my question.
We'll take Andy Kamenetsky and then on Zoom, and then we'll take Melissa on Zoom.
Hey, Russ, you talked a lot over the course of this season about adjustments that were asked of you on the court, different roles, stuff like that. You were also talking about the difficulties at times that you had with Frank just now. In terms of what was being asked of you, how much did you feel like that you truly embraced those changes as opposed to just looking to do them? Because there's a difference.
I embrace every change. There wasn't a time where I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. Like there was conversations where I may have felt like what I bring to this team and my abilities to be able to help the team win may not been in the cards of kind of how that, the coaching staff wanted to play, but there wasn't an incident where I was never like, oh, I'm not doing this, or I would not do. Like I've come in with open arms. I got no reason to. I knew coming here, I would have to make the bigger sacrifice of anywhere. And if anybody ever, if you think about any situation I've been in, I've had to make the sacrifice, whether it was in DC, whether it was in Houston, whether it was in Oklahoma City. It didn't matter. In actuality, I've always been able to take a sacrifice. And to me, it's weird because I always get questioned, like, is he really taking the sacrifice? It's like, yes, I'm doing everything that I can and everything that's asked of me at the time, whether I like it or not. Let me finish. Whether I like it or not. But I think it's important to understand that when watching the game and understanding what I bring to the table, and if I'm in position to be able to be successful, that's really not up to me. I just do what I'm asked, and if it works, it doesn't work, and I can take what comes with it.
Just as a quick follow, how do you personally define sacrifice?
Doing what is best for the overall, as it pertains to basketball, doing whatever is best for the team. And I feel like I'm a player that's always done that. And I will continue to do that regardless of whatever situation I'm in. If I'm asked to do something, regardless of if I like it or not, this is a job and being professional, and I'll do it to the best of my ability.
Thanks.
Melissa?
Hey, Russ, when you said you never really got a chance this season, if you choose to come back next season, what would you like to see change?
Obviously, it's going to be a lot of different changes based on who the coach is and how our style of play and what we play like. So that question is kind of up in the air. But once that decision is made, then we kind of go from there.
Any follow-up?
Yeah, Russ, just to kind of zero in on this a little bit. You said that LeBron Like we heard that a lot.
Yeah, but that wasn't true.
That's what I was going to say. Did you ever, I mean,
So let's be honest.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like, and I guess, and how much of that is just sort of the nature of when you put 3 All NBA players together? How much of it is fit and challenge from that? How much of it do you think was maybe something else? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of where we are on the floor, positioning, fit and challenge, trial and error, being able to play with on the floor with each other, finding ways to be able to utilize us to the best of our ability. And it's that simple. I just,
do you ever feel like yourself this season on the court?
Very rarely. Not like, there were times in spurts, but I was just trying to find my way, honestly, just trying to do whatever it is that was asking me, whether, it was best for the team or whatever. I just do what that was asked of me, and that's it. I never, sometimes I may not agree with it, but that I kept to myself and did what I could for the team, regardless of, the frustrating part is losing, like making a big sacrifice and trying to find ways to play differently and do different things. And I'm put in a position and we're still losing. To me, didn't make much sense, but I couldn't do nothing about that, and I don't want to get like I own my own personal performances, like trying to figure it out. Yes, I didn't perform the way I wanted to, like I mentioned before, but I'm the only one that can scale that because of the way I know I'm supposed to be able to perform and the things I know I'm able to do just for a team, and not being able to do so is frustrating.
Rasan Haylock on Zoom.
Hey, Russ, talking about, you being the one that can grade your performance. How do you grade it when, as you mentioned, your role was sort of fluid. It was sort of always evolving. So what steps, what processes do you take to, really be able to evaluate yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's different, man. It's like, it's a skill that I knew that I would have to kind of figure out. Like, yes, I would not have the ball in my hands a lot less. I'll be in different positions on the floor, and that's a part of the sacrifice. So that will obviously accumulate to numbers being a little differently and not averaging as many points or not averaging as many assists. So that's what I mean by being able to scale and understand my performance and kind of where I see where I could have done different things better. And obviously I could have had a better season, but based on the positions and how we played and where I was at on the floor, wasn't really able to do some of the things that I was able to do. Like even last year, like obviously I'm coming off averaging a triple-double. So anything less than that would not be a good season for me in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the scale of how it comes from is a little different.
Yeah. Russ, I think you acknowledged when you were introduced here that you, LeBron, and AD had conversations about potentially getting together. Do you think that anything you guys envisioned or discussed in those initial conversations either just couldn't come true or just didn't hold up in particular or anything?
Yeah, I'm not, I won't get too much into that. Like we talked throughout the season and try to figure things out, but a lot of things were just not out of my hands, out of their hands, and kind of just, we kind of just went with what we had, played the cards you dealt.
They have a follow-up. They'll have a follow-up when we're done.
Russ, I think you and LeBron at different times this year both described your relationship as bigger than basketball. I'm just curious, with the basketball not going the way either you guys would have envisioned, how did that push or challenge or maybe even strengthen that overall relationship you guys have?
What you mean?
Well, I think both of you have the perspective of very unique journeys to get to where you are and being to the figureheads of the NBA, to the top 75 of all time. There's a connection there that can never be rattled, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Something you both spoke to. The challenge of the actual basketball teammates. How did that affect?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't affect it like off the floor and trying to figure out on the floor. It didn't affect, I think, obviously the ultimate part of it is that we both know that the season didn't go the way we wanted it to, at least from my perspective. I know Brian as well, but it didn't affect any aspect of me. I was trying to my job is to try to make the game easier for him. And I was trying to do that when I had abilities to be able to do so. And then after that, off the floor, we still stay tight, and that won't change.
Last question, follow-up, Bill.
Russ, you've been obviously in the league for a long time, so maybe some of the childlike wonder has sort of worn off. But I think it's fair to say that playing for the Lakers was a childhood dream of yours. No, that's not true.
No, I didn't even dream of playing in the NBA.
Okay.
So I'm strictly like blessed to just be sitting here and sitting in this position 15 by going to my 15th season. And like I never dreamt of playing the NBA, even playing for the Lakers. To do so, it's an unbelievable blessing. It's a great thing being from here, but never was something I imagined myself doing when I was growing up.
Okay, well, that answers that then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste your time. It's
true. Unless I'm honest, I'm gonna be. If anybody, I didn't